is Audrey Harry. I'm from the Hatem First Nation. And that is Kinney Creek Band that is by the Fraser River. I am 3 years clean and sober, alcohol and drugs. When I started my methamphetamine addiction, I moved to Kamloops. I went through separation. Of course, you meet the wrong people and you explore things that you didn't have before because you got so used to living in the life that you were living in. That was good. That was a happy home. That was like everyone was working in a family. You paid your bills. And you want change. And then I moved to Kamloops, and that's when everything kind of fell apart. I met some wrong people. My kids moved home. I started experimenting with drugs. And the first time I tried meth, I was told it was cocaine. And I knew it wasn't cocaine, but it was cheaper. It lasted longer. I guess right now, it was a better high for me. But most of all, it was cheaper. It was a cheaper drug, especially if you're trying to live in a city. You're not going to try to go out and get $250 worth of cocaine. You're going to go for the $15 drug. And I moved home. While I was in Kamloops, I lost a lot. I met the wrong person. A rebound, of course. I lost a lot of myself, and I lost my job. My kids moved home. I lived without hydro for 2 weeks. I ended up calling my mom and telling her I need her to come get me. I packed my apartment in two days. She came and picked me up at the end of the second day. And I moved home, and I moved back to my mom's. And that's when my drinking got a little bit more, but I was able to stay off meth. I just started drinking more. And I kind of did a spiral. That was 2015. I did a 2-year spiral. But my rock bottom wasn't losing everything. My rock bottom was not having my family. People say, your rock bottom is you lose your house, you lose your money, you lose your car, your job. I had all of that, but the only thing I didn't have was my family. And as a First Nations person, your family is everything. Without a family, you're lost. For me to realize that I needed help, I hurt one of my family members pretty bad. My sister. She always bugs me now because she's like, I took one for the team for you to get sober. But at the time, it was really bad. I hurt her pretty bad. And you don't care about that. You just care about what do you have in that moment. What alcohol you have, what drugs you have. You don't care about if you're doing it alone. Until you wake up the next day. That's when you realize, like, the Creator gave you another day. What are you doing with it? You're hurting your family. I remember waking up and I have my sister's car keys. I stole her car. I went over, she was calling for her car. I went over to give her back her car keys, and she had a black eye. It wasn't black yet. She had a big white goose egg on her eye. And I did that to her. I didn't know I did that to her when I dropped her car off. I didn't even know when I walked in. I came straight in and I was looking for my bottle because I knew I had my bottle there and I left it there. And then I seen her eye. She looked really sad. Right there, that's when I realized that I needed help. Because I just remember her looking down, and her eye was so big. She just looked really hurt and really sad. And I left. I just went to my room and I just cried. And I asked myself, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing to your little sister? It's your little sister. That was the straw. That's when I realized how much I was hurting my family. And I would talk to my sister, my other sister, and she already knew what happened. We were so close, that's what happened. You call your sisters. And within the next month, I was preparing. I knew I wanted to stop. And that's when I told my one sister that, yeah, I'm gonna get help, I need help. And at that time I had my own place. I went on one last, this was a bad decision, but I went on one last binge. I came to Williams Lake, stayed at a friend's place, a place where I knew everyone, you're always welcome there, you drink, you make bad decisions. And that's when I came in and seen Lynn. I I remember coming in here and sitting down and sitting in front of her, and I remember saying, I'm ready. I'm ready to get help. And we were scheduling detox, and this is really personal, but after I said I was ready to go, I knew I had time. And that's what a drug addict does. You go out, you do drugs again before you know you're supposed to stop. I went out and grabbed a bunch of methamphetamine, a bunch of booze, went back out to my place, and was drinking with family, my boyfriend at the time, and it was interesting. I packed my whole house, even though I knew I was coming home, but because of the drugs and everything, I was like, okay, I'm going to treatment. I ended up packing my whole place, like cleaning everything, packing everything. And now when I look back, I knew what I was doing. I knew I was packing. I knew I couldn't come back to that house, and I knew I couldn't come back to the same environment. I knew the day I was supposed to come in for detox, I didn't make it one day. So the next week, it was like I was pushing it. I knew I was going, but I was going to go on my time. And I remember my brother coming down. My brother always came down, and he always told me straight. He's like, Audrey, you better give your head a shake. Give your head a shake, and, you know, your kids are there. I wasn't worried about my kids, though, because I knew my mom was watching them. But when I was doing the last binge, the methamphetamine, I was dangerously close to hurting myself. So I had one of my cousins come over and stay over and make sure I woke up. Make sure he had naloxone. And the last day of my addiction, I was at my mom's drinking beer, drinking hard stuff. I knew I was leaving the next day. My last drinks were Old Milwaukee and Silent Sam. And my mom drove me in with Lucas and my brother Jaden. What keeps me sober now is my kids, my nieces and nephews, the younger generation. Because when I got sober, I realized that I wanted to help. And coming from Williams Lake, I see a lot of people that need help. I see a lot of addiction in the older generations also that need help with residential school, intergenerational trauma. That's a big factor in this town. But what keeps me sober right now is making sure my kids are safe. Making sure my kids are my priority because I want them to be happy. I don't want them to falling into bad crowds, peer pressure, trying to fit in. What keeps me sober right now is I want our people to be able to rise up no matter what they've been through. I want our people to basically sober up for our children. Make our children stronger, help them find their identity. Let them know how strong they are. And when their parents are still in addiction, they can't see that. They're just trying to survive. But if our people are sober, we get our strength and our identity back. So what keeps me sober right now is my children, wanting my children to pursue their dreams, make themselves happy, find their identity, find their strength. But if you want to get sober, it's your decision, and it's your decision only. You're the one that's gonna have to walk that path alone. No one can ever tell you, you gotta get sober, you gotta quit drinking, people can tell you that, but if you want it, and you want it bad enough, you have to know that you're gonna walk it alone. No one can get you sober. Only you can walk that path, no one else. And if you ever feel down and weak and down and out, talk to your ancestors. Talk to someone that you knew that was there for you if they passed on. For me, it was Suzanne. She committed suicide when I was 11. And I talked to Angie, and I talked to my cat Anastasia. I talked to my ancestors and the people that passed on that were there and that made an impact on my life when I was younger. And I think that's what keeps you hope. That's what gives you hope, is the people that passed on. You ask for strength from them. And whatever your dreams you have or desires you have, you ask for strength from your ancestors that can't be here, even though you knew they wanted to be here. They're still with you and they're still around you. You ever need strength, light up some sage, light a candle, go by the water, say a prayer for yourself. You're never alone. In your addiction, you think you're alone, you're not. You just gotta find that hope. That little light of hope for a better life.